Jake Morrison stood at the window of the spaceship and looked at the strange world below. The planet was beautiful with purple skies and silver cities that sparkled like diamonds. He had never seen anything like it in his 28 years of life. "Morrison, report to the briefing room," came the voice over the speaker. Jake walked down the metal hallway of the ship. His boots made loud sounds on the floor. Other soldiers nodded at him as he passed. They all knew he was special. He was going to do something no human had ever done before. Captain Lisa Kane waited for him in a small room with charts and pictures on the walls. She was a tough woman with short hair and serious eyes. Jake had served under her for 5 years. She never smiled much, but she was fair. "Sit down, Jake," she said. "We need to talk about your mission." Jake sat in the metal chair. It was cold and hard. "I'm ready, Captain." "Are you?" "This is not like anything we've done before. You're going to protect an alien princess. Her name is Zara. She's the daughter of the queen of this world." Jake nodded. He had read the files. The aliens called themselves Veltharans. They looked like humans but were taller and stronger. They had strange powers that humans did not understand. "Why do they want a human guard?" Jake asked. "Good question. Someone is trying to kill the princess. The aliens think humans are good at protecting people. They asked for our best soldier. That's you." Jake felt proud but also worried. "What if I make a mistake? What if I start a war?" Captain Kane looked at him with hard eyes. "Don't make mistakes. The peace between our worlds depends on this. The princess supports friendship with humans. If something happens to her, the aliens who hate us will take control." The ship landed with a soft bump. Jake gathered his things. He had one bag with clothes and his weapons. The aliens had said he could keep his gun, which surprised him. "Remember," Captain Kane said as they walked to the door, "be polite but be yourself. They chose a human for a reason. Don't try to act like them." The door opened. Hot air rushed in. It smelled like flowers and metal. Jake stepped out onto a platform made of smooth white stone. Alien guards stood in lines. They wore blue uniforms and carried weapons that glowed with energy. The aliens were tall, just like the file said. Their skin was pale green and their eyes were large and dark. They moved with grace like dancers. Jake felt heavy and clumsy next to them. A female alien approached. She wore fancy clothes with gold decorations. "I am Ambassador Kira Zendal." "Welcome to our world, Jake Morrison." "Thank you," Jake said. He tried to bow like they had taught him, but it felt strange. "The princess waits for you in the palace. Please follow me." They rode in a vehicle that floated above the ground. Jake watched the city pass by through the clear walls. The buildings were tall and curved. Gardens grew on the roofs. People walked on bridges that connected the towers. "You're a princess," Jake said. "What is she like?" Ambassador Kira smiled. It was the first smile he had seen from an alien. "She is young and smart. She asks many questions. Some people think she asked too many questions." The palace was huge. It was made of white stone that seemed to glow. Towers reached high into the purple sky. Guards stood everywhere. Jake counted at least 50 as they walked through the gates. Inside, the walls were covered with strange art. The floors were made of smooth stone that felt warm under his feet. Everything was bigger than human size. The doors were tall. The rooms were wide. Jake felt like a child in a giant's house. "Wait here," Ambassador Kira said. She left him in a large room with soft chairs and tables made of crystal. Jake stood and waited. He checked his watch. He checked his gun. He looked at the strange paintings on the walls. They showed aliens doing things he did not understand. "You must be the human." Jake turned. A young alien woman entered the room. She was different from the others. Her hair was long and dark blue. Her eyes were bright purple. She wore simple clothes, not fancy ones like the ambassador. "I am Princess Zara," she said in perfect English. "You are Jake Morrison." Jake bowed again. This time it felt more natural. "Yes, Your Highness. I am here to protect you." Princess Zara laughed. The sound was like music. "Your Highness? That sounds so formal. Just call me Zara. May I call you Jake?" "If you want to," Jake said. He was confused. Princesses were supposed to be formal and distant. This one seemed friendly and normal. "Good, I hate formality. It's boring." She sat in one of the big chairs. "Tell me about Earth. I've read about it, but I want to hear from someone who lives there." Jake sat across from her. "What do you want to know?" "Everything. What does rain feel like? What do your cities look like? Do humans really fight wars over small things?" Jake spent the next hour answering her questions. Princess Zara was smart and curious. She asked about human food, human music, and human families. She seemed amazed by simple things like snow and beaches. "Why do you want to know about humans?" Jake asked. Princess Zara became serious. "Because my mother wants our people to be friends with yours. But many of our people think humans are weak and stupid. I want to understand humans so I can help make peace." "Am I what you expected?" Jake asked. She looked at him carefully. "No, you're more honest than I thought. And you seem kind. The stories about humans say they are violent and cruel." "Some humans are cruel," Jake said. "Some are kind." "We're not all the same, just like my people," Princess Zara said. "Some want peace. Others want war." A loud sound came from outside. Voices shouted in the alien language. Princess Zara stood up quickly. Her face showed fear. "What's wrong?" Jake asked protesters. "They don't want humans here. They think you will corrupt me." She looked out the window. "They're getting louder. This happens every few days now." Jake stood and checked his weapon. "Should we move to a safer room?" Princess Zara shook her head. "No, if I hide, they win. I must show that I'm not afraid." She looked at him. "But I am afraid, Jake. Someone really is trying to kill me. 3 attempts in the last month." "Then my job is real," Jake said. "Not just politics, and very real. That's why Mother asked for a human. She thinks your people are good at staying alive in dangerous situations." Jake smiled for the first time since arriving. "We are. I'll keep you safe, Zara. That's a promise." Princess Zara smiled back. "I believe you." "There's something about humans." "You say what you mean. Our people speak in circles and hide their true thoughts." The shouting outside grew louder. Jake moved to the window and looked down. Hundreds of aliens filled the street. They carried signs with alien writing. Some threw rocks at the palace walls. "They really don't like humans," Jake said. "They fear change," Princess Zara said. "They want our people to stay pure and separate. They think contact with other species will make us weak." "What do you think?" Jake asked. Princess Zara joined him at the window. "I think fear makes us weak. Learning from others makes us strong." Jake nodded. He was starting to understand why the princess needed protection. She was not just facing physical danger. She was fighting for the future of her world. The crowd below began to break up as alien guards appeared. But Jake knew this was just the beginning. His real job was starting now. 3 weeks had passed since Jake arrived on the alien world. He was getting used to the strange food and the purple sky. But he was not getting used to the danger. Every day brought new threats. Angry messages appeared on the palace walls. Protesters gathered in the streets. Someone had even put poison in Princess Zara's food. Jake had caught that one just in time. Princess Zara tried to act normal, but Jake could see the stress in her eyes. She was tired of being afraid. She was tired of staying inside the palace. "I want to go to the market," she said one morning as they ate breakfast. Jake looked up from his alien fruit. It tasted like oranges mixed with honey. "That's not safe. Too many people. Too many places to hide. I can't live in a cage, Jake. My people need to see me. They need to know I'm not afraid." Jake understood her feelings. He had felt the same way during the war on Earth. Sometimes you had to take risks to show you were still alive. "If we go, we do it my way," he said. "Extra guards. Different route." In and out fast, Princess Zara smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from her in days. Deal. They left the palace at noon. Jake had 6 alien guards with them. He also had a human soldier named Lisa, who had come down from the ship. She carried a big rifle and looked mean enough to scare anyone. The market was full of aliens buying and selling strange things. Jake saw fruits that glowed in the dark and clothes that changed colors. The air smelled like spices and flowers. Princess Zara moved through the crowd like she belonged there. She talked to shop owners and smiled at children. The people seemed happy to see her. Jake began to relax a little. That was his mistake. The attack came from 3 directions at once. Men in dark clothes jumped out from behind market stalls. They carried weapons that shot blue energy beams. Jake saw them just in time. "Get down!" he shouted. He threw himself on top of Princess Zara and rolled behind a fruit stand. Energy beams hit the wall where they had been standing. The stone turned black and started to smoke. Lisa was already shooting back with her rifle. The human weapon made loud bangs that echoed through the market. People screamed and ran in all directions. Jake pulled out his pistol and looked around the fruit stand. He counted at least 8 attackers. They had planned this well. The alien guards were fighting, but they seemed confused by the sudden attack. "Stay down," Jake told Princess Zara. "Don't move until I say." He started shooting. His first shot hit an attacker in the shoulder. The alien spun around and fell. Jake's second shot missed. His third shot hit another attacker in the leg. But there were too many of them. They had surrounded the market. Jake and his team were trapped. One of the attackers threw a small round object. It landed near Jake and started to glow bright white. "Grenade!" Jake yelled. He grabbed Princess Zara and ran toward the nearest building. The explosion behind them was huge. It knocked Jake forward and made his ears ring. Hot metal flew past his head. When he looked back, 3 of the alien guards were on the ground. Lisa was bleeding from her arm but still fighting. The attackers were moving closer. Jake saw only one way out. There was a narrow alley between 2 shops. If they could reach it, they might escape. "When I say run, you run," he told Princess Zara. "Don't look back. Don't stop. Just run." Princess Zara nodded. Her face was dirty and scared, but her eyes were determined. "Run." They sprinted across the open space. Energy beams shot past them. Jake felt one burn the air next to his ear. Another one hit the ground by his feet and left a smoking hole. They made it to the alley. Jake turned to cover their escape. He shot at the attackers to keep them back. Lisa joined him, firing her rifle in short bursts. But as they retreated down the alley, Jake saw one attacker raise a different kind of weapon. This one was bigger and had a red glow. Jake had seen weapons like this before. It was designed to kill, not just wound. The attacker aimed at Princess Zara. Jake didn't think. He just moved. He threw himself between the weapon and the princess just as it fired. The energy beam hit him in the chest. It felt like being struck by lightning. Pain shot through his whole body. He fell to the ground and couldn't move. The last thing he saw before everything went dark was Princess Zara's face above him. She was crying and calling his name. Jake woke up in a white room. Everything hurt. His chest felt like someone had hit it with a hammer. When he tried to sit up, sharp pain made him fall back down. "Don't move," a soft voice said. Jake turned his head slowly. Princess Zara sat in a chair next to his bed. She looked tired and worried. "How long was I out?" he asked. His voice was rough and dry. 2 days. The doctors said you were lucky. The energy beam missed your heart by 2 inches. Jake looked down at his chest. It was covered with white bandages. "Did we get them?" "The attackers." "Some of them. The others ran away when more guards came." Princess Zara leaned forward. "Why did you do it, Jake? Why did you jump in front of that weapon?" Jake thought about the question. Why had he done it? "It's my job to protect you." "No, it was more than that. You could have found another way. You chose to take the hit yourself." Jake was quiet for a moment. She was right. He had acted without thinking. But when he saw the weapon aimed at her, something inside him had taken over. "I couldn't let you die," he said finally. "It would have been wrong." Princess Zara reached out and took his hand. Her skin was warm and soft. "Thank you, Jake. You saved my life." For the next week, Princess Zara visited Jake every day. They talked about many things. She told him about her childhood and her fears about becoming queen someday. He told her about his family on Earth and the wars he had fought. Jake learned that Princess Zara was not just beautiful and smart. She was also brave and kind. She cared about her people and wanted to make their lives better. She asked him questions about human government and human rights. "On Earth, do all people get to choose their leaders?" she asked one day. "In most places, yes. We call it democracy. Everyone gets a vote. Even poor people? Even people who are different? That's the idea. It doesn't always work perfectly, but we try." Princess Zara was quiet for a long time. "I wish our world was like that. Here, only the nobles get to make decisions. Regular people just have to obey." Jake could see she was troubled by this. "Maybe you can change things when you become queen." "Maybe. But change is hard. People fear it. As Jake got stronger, he started working again. But now things were different. The attack had made Princess Zara famous. People talked about the human who had taken a weapon blast to save their princess. Some aliens said it proved humans were loyal and brave. Others said it proved humans were foolish. Jake also noticed that Princess Zara stayed closer to him now. When they walked through the palace, she often touched his arm or stood near him. When they talked, she looked directly into his eyes. Jake tried not to think about what this meant. One evening, they were sitting in the palace garden. The alien flowers glowed softly in the dark. 2 moons shone in the purple sky. "Jake," Princess Zara said quietly. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Do you have someone special on Earth? A wife or girlfriend? Jake felt his face get warm. No, I was always too busy with the military. Never had time for relationships, I see. Princess Zara was quiet for a moment. I don't have anyone either. Royal marriages are usually arranged for political reasons. Love is not considered important. Jake didn't know what to say to that. The idea of marrying someone you didn't love seemed terrible to him. What about you? Princess Zara asked. Do humans marry for love? Usually, yes. We try to find someone who makes us happy, someone we want to spend our life with. That sounds wonderful, she said. There was sadness in her voice. Jake looked at her in the moonlight. Princess Zara was beautiful, but more than that, she was good. She cared about others. She was brave and smart and kind. Jake realized he was starting to have feelings for her that went beyond just doing his job. But he also knew these feelings were dangerous. He was a human soldier. She was an alien princess. Their worlds were different. Their people were different. Nothing good could come from caring too much. Still, as they sat together in the garden, Jake couldn't help but think that maybe, just maybe, love could bridge any gap. That thought scared him more than any weapon. Queen Melissa Velthara was not like her daughter. Where Princess Zara was warm and open, the queen was cold and calculating. She spoke little but saw everything. Jake had met her only twice since arriving, and both times he felt like she was studying him like a scientist studies a bug. The queen ruled the Veltharan Empire with intelligence and strength. She had kept peace for 30 years and made her people rich and powerful, but Jake could see that she was worried about something. The queen wants to see you, Ambassador Kira told Jake one morning. Alone. Jake felt nervous as he walked to the throne room. The room was huge, with walls that reached up so high he couldn't see the ceiling. The queen sat on a chair made of black stone that seemed to glow with its own light. Jake Morrison, she said in perfect English. Her voice was deep and strong. Approach. Jake walked forward and stopped in front of the throne. He tried to bow like he had practiced, but the queen raised her hand. No need for that. We have important things to discuss. Yes, Your Majesty. The queen stood up. She was tall, even for a Veltharan. Her hair was silver and her eyes were the same purple as her daughter's, but colder. You have done well protecting my daughter. The attack at the market could have killed her. You prevented that. I was just doing my job, Your Majesty. Were you? The queen walked down the steps from her throne. I think it was more than duty. I think you care for her. Jake felt his face get hot. Princess Zara is a good person. Anyone would want to protect her? Anyone? No, I don't think so. My own guards have protected her for years, but none of them took an energy blast to the chest for her. The queen was now standing right in front of Jake. Her eyes seemed to look right through him. Tell me, Jake Morrison, what do you think of my daughter? Jake knew this was a trap, but he didn't know how to avoid it. She's smart and kind. She cares about her people. She will make a good queen someday. And what, Your Majesty? Do you find her attractive? Jake's heart started beating fast. This was definitely a trap. If he said yes, the queen might think he was not professional. If he said no, she might think he was lying. I think she's beautiful, he said finally. But my job is to protect her, not to have personal feelings about her. The queen smiled. It was not a warm smile. Too late for that, I think. My daughter talks about you constantly. She asks questions about human customs, human families, human love. She has never asked about these things before. Jake didn't know what to say to that. He had noticed that Princess Zara seemed interested in him, but he had tried not to think about it. Your Majesty, if I have done something wrong. Wrong? No, Jake Morrison. You have done something very right. You have shown my daughter what a good man looks like. You have shown her that not all males are interested only in power and politics. The queen walked back to her throne and sat down. I have been watching you for weeks. You are honest and brave. You put others before yourself. You treat my daughter as an equal, not as a prize to be won. Jake was confused. I still don't understand what you want from me, Your Majesty. I want you to marry my daughter. The words hit Jake like a physical blow. He staggered backwards and almost fell down. What? You heard me correctly. I want you to become my daughter's husband. I want you to be the next king of the Veltharan Empire. Jake's mind went blank. This was impossible. This was crazy. He was a human soldier from a small planet. He couldn't marry an alien princess and become a king. Your Majesty, I can't. This is impossible. Ridiculous?
Scandalous.
The queen seemed amused by his reaction. Yes, it is all of those things. It is also necessary. I don't understand. The queen's expression became serious again. My daughter needs a strong partner. Someone who will support her but not try to control her. Someone who will put the good of our people before his own desires. But I'm human. Your people will never accept me. Some will, some won't. The ones who matter will see that you make my daughter happy and strong. The ones who don't matter will complain, but they complain about everything. Jake felt dizzy. This conversation was moving too fast. What about Princess Zara? What does she think about this? I haven't told her yet. I wanted to speak with you first. The queen leaned forward. But I think you know how she feels about you. And I think you know how you feel about her. Jake couldn't deny that. Over the past weeks, his feelings for Princess Zara had grown stronger every day. He looked forward to seeing her each morning. He worried about her when they were apart. When she smiled at him, his heart beat faster. But marriage, becoming a king, it seemed impossible. Your Majesty, I need time to think about this, of course, but not too much time. I plan to announce the engagement at the royal festival next week. Next week? But that's only 6 days, yes. The queen stood up again. Jake Morrison, I am not asking you to marry my daughter because I am romantic. I am asking because it is the best thing for our empire. The union between our species needs a symbol. You and Zara can be that symbol. Jake felt like he was drowning. Everything was happening too fast. What if I say no? The queen's eyes became hard. Then you will return to your ship and go back to Earth. And my daughter will marry some Veltheran noble who will treat her like property and try to control her for the rest of her life. The threat was clear. Jake could protect Princess Zara from assassins, but he couldn't protect her from a bad marriage if he left. May I speak with Princess Zara about this? Not yet. First, you must decide if you are willing. If you say yes, then we will tell her together. Jake bowed his head. His mind was spinning with thoughts and emotions. I need to think, Your Majesty. You have until tomorrow morning. Then you must choose. Jake left the throne room feeling like he had been hit by a truck. He walked through the palace halls without seeing anything. His feet carried him to the garden where he and Princess Zara often sat together. She was there, reading a book under a flowering tree. When she saw him, she smiled. Jake, I was hoping you would come. I found this amazing human book about something called baseball. Can you explain it to me? Jake sat down next to her, but he couldn't focus on baseball. All he could think about were the queen's words. Zara, he said slowly, do you ever think about the future? About what will happen when you become queen? Princess Zara put down her book. Sometimes, I think about the changes I want to make, the ways I want to help our people. She looked at him curiously. Why do you ask? Do you think about marriage? About finding someone to share your life with? Princess Zara's cheeks turned a darker shade of green, which Jake had learned was how Veltharans blushed. I do think about it sometimes. But royal marriages are usually arranged. I probably won't get to choose. What if you could choose? What kind of person would you want? Princess Zara was quiet for a long moment. She looked down at her hands. I would want someone kind, she said finally. Someone who would treat me as a partner, not as a possession. Someone who would care about our people as much as I do. She looked up at Jake. Someone like you. The words hung in the air between them. Jake felt his heart pounding. Zara, I know it's impossible, she said quickly. You're human and I'm Veltharan. You're a soldier and I'm a princess. But I can't help how I feel. Jake reached out and took her hand. It was warm and soft, just like the first time she had touched him. What if it wasn't impossible? He asked quietly. Princess Zara looked confused. What do you mean? Before Jake could answer, Ambassador Kira appeared at the edge of the garden. Your Highness, your mother requests your presence in the throne room. Immediately. Princess Zara sighed. I have to go. But Jake, what did you mean about it not being impossible? Jake squeezed her hand gently. Maybe we'll find out soon. As Princess Zara walked away with the ambassador, Jake realized he had already made his decision. He loved her. She loved him. The queen was right. They could be a symbol of unity between their peoples. It was crazy and dangerous and would probably cause all kinds of problems. But Jake had never run away from a fight in his life. He wasn't going to start now. Tomorrow morning he would tell the queen yes. The announcement of the engagement caused chaos throughout the Veltharan Empire. Jake stood next to Princess Zara on the palace balcony, as Queen Melissa told the gathered crowd that her daughter would marry a human. The reaction was immediate and loud. Some aliens cheered and threw flowers. Others shouted angry words and shook their fists. The crowd was split down the middle. Princess Zara squeezed Jake's hand. She had been shocked when her mother first told her about the engagement, but after talking with Jake for hours, she had agreed. They both knew it was risky, but they also knew they loved each other. "Are you ready for this?" Jake whispered to her. "No," she whispered back, "but I want to try." Down in the crowd, Jake could see aliens arguing with each other. Some held signs supporting the marriage. Others held signs calling for it to be stopped. The palace guards looked nervous. Over the next few days, the protests grew larger. Jake received reports from Captain Kane that Earth was not happy either. Some humans thought the marriage was a good idea for diplomatic reasons. Others thought Jake was a traitor for loving an alien. But the real trouble came from Commander Thex Mordan. Mordan was the leader of the Veltharan military. He was tall and strong even for a Veltharan. His skin was darker than most and his eyes were cold and mean. He had never liked humans, and he especially didn't like Jake. Jake was in the palace armory checking weapons when Mordan found him. "Human," Mordan said. The way he said it made it sound like a curse word. Jake turned around. "Commander, what can I do for you? You can leave this planet and never come back." Jake set down the energy rifle he had been examining. "I don't think so. I have a job to do here. Your job was to protect the princess. Now you're trying to marry her. That was never part of the deal." "Plans change," Jake said calmly. "The princess and I love each other. The queen supports the marriage. That's all that matters." Mordan stepped closer. He was a full head taller than Jake and twice as wide. "You humans are all the same. You think you can take whatever you want. You think you're better than us? I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just want to make Zara happy." "Zara?" Mordan's voice was full of anger. "You call the princess by her first name like she's some common female? You have no respect." Jake felt his own anger rising. "I have plenty of respect. For her, for your people, and for your customs. But I won't be insulted by someone who doesn't even try to understand what's happening here." Mordan grabbed Jake by the shirt and lifted him off the ground. "What's happening here is an invasion. You humans are trying to weaken us by corrupting our royal bloodline." Jake didn't try to fight back. He knew Mordan was stronger than him. Instead, he spoke quietly. "Put me down, Commander. This won't solve anything. Maybe not, but it will make me feel better." "Thex, release him immediately." Both men turned. Princess Zara stood in the doorway of the armory. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were blazing with anger. Mordan slowly put Jake down. "Your Highness, I was just having a conversation with your pet human. My fiancé," Princess Zara corrected. "And I don't appreciate you threatening him." "Threatening? I was merely expressing my concerns about this foolish marriage." Princess Zara walked into the room. Despite being smaller than both men, she somehow filled the space with her presence. "Your concerns are noted, Commander, but the decision has been made. Jake and I will be married, with or without your approval." Mordan's face showed his anger. "This marriage will destroy everything our people have built. We will become weak. We will lose our identity. Or," Princess Zara said, "we will become stronger by learning from each other. We will gain new ideas and new perspectives." "You're young and foolish," Mordan said. "You don't understand the consequences." "I understand them better than you think." Princess Zara stepped closer to the commander. "And I understand that some people will never accept change, no matter how good it might be." Mordan looked back and forth between Jake and Princess Zara. His expression was full of hate. "We'll see about that," he said finally. Then he turned and walked out of the room. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. That sounded like a threat. 2 days before the wedding, the real attack came. Jake was awakened by explosions. The palace shook and pieces of the ceiling fell on his bed. He grabbed his weapons and ran toward Princess Zara's room. The hallways were full of smoke and alien guards running in all directions. Jake could hear the sound of energy weapons firing and soldiers shouting orders. He burst into Princess Zara's room and found her already dressed and armed. She had a small energy pistol in her hand and determination in her eyes. "What's happening?" she asked. "Rebellion. Someone's attacking the palace." Jake checked his rifle and looked out the window. He could see hundreds of alien soldiers surrounding the building. They wore different uniforms than the royal guards. "Mordan," Princess Zara said quietly. "He's made his move." Jake's communication device crackled to life. Captain Kane's voice came through the static. "Jake, do you copy? We're seeing explosions at the palace." "Copy, Captain. We're under attack. Looks like a military coup. We're on our way down. Hold your position." Princess Zara grabbed Jake's arm. "Your people are coming to help?" "That's what friends do," Jake said. "They help each other when trouble comes." The next few hours were the longest of Jake's life. He and Princess Zara fought their way through the palace, trying to reach the secure bunker where Queen Melissa was hiding. They were joined by loyal guards and several human soldiers who had come down from the ship. Jake had to admit that fighting alongside aliens was strange but effective. The Veltharan guards were stronger and faster than humans, while the humans were better at tactics and adapting to changing situations. Princess Zara proved that she was more than just a pretty face. She knew the palace better than anyone, and could predict where the attackers would come from next. She also fought with skill and courage that impressed even the hardest human soldiers. "Behind you," she shouted at one point, shooting an enemy soldier who was about to attack Jake from a side corridor. Jake spun around and finished off the attacker with 2 quick shots. "Thanks, I owe you one." "We're even," she said, reloading her weapon. They finally reached the bunker where Queen Melissa was coordinating the defense. The queen looked older and more tired than Jake had ever seen her, but her eyes were still sharp and intelligent. "Report," she said as they entered the secure room. "Mordan has about 500 soldiers," Princess Zara said. "They've taken the outer walls and most of the main building. We're holding the central tower and the communication center." "What about casualties?" "Too many," Jake said grimly. "But we're not giving up," Queen Melissa nodded. "Good, because I just received word that 3 other military commanders have joined Mordan's rebellion. This is bigger than just a coup. It's a civil war." Jake felt his heart sink. A civil war would tear the Veltharan Empire apart. It would also destroy any chance of peace between humans and aliens. "What do we do?" Princess Zara asked. Her mother looked at both of them. "We fight. We show our people that we won't be intimidated by those who fear change." A new explosion shook the bunker. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They're getting closer," Jake said. Queen Melissa stood up. "Then it's time to make our stand. Zara, Jake, I want you to know that I'm proud of both of you. You've shown that love can exist between different species. That's worth fighting for." Jake looked at Princess Zara. Even covered in dust and blood, she was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. More than that, she was brave and strong and everything he could want in a partner. "Whatever happens," he said to her, "I want you to know that I love you." Princess Zara smiled. "I love you too, Jake Morrison. And when this is over, we're going to have the most amazing wedding in galactic history." "Is that a promise?" "That's a royal decree," Jake laughed despite the danger around them. If they could find humor in this situation, maybe they really could overcome anything. The sound of footsteps in the corridor outside meant the final battle was about to begin. Jake checked his weapon one last time and prepared to fight for the woman he loved and the future they wanted to build together. The final battle lasted 12 hours. Jake fought side by side with Princess Zara and the loyal guards as they defended the central tower. The rebel soldiers were good fighters, but they made one big mistake. They thought like traditional Veltharan military officers, using old tactics and predictable strategies. Jake didn't think like them. He thought like a human. "We need to split up," he told Princess Zara as they took cover behind an overturned table. "They expect us to stay together and defend one position. Instead, we hit them from 3 different directions." "That's very risky," one of the alien guards said. "If we split our forces, we might be defeated in detail. Or we might confuse them enough to break their attack," Jake replied. "In human military history, smaller forces have beaten larger ones by being unpredictable." Princess Zara looked at him with trust in her eyes. "What do you need us to do?" Jake quickly explained his plan. It was crazy and dangerous, but it might work. The key was timing and surprise. Half an hour later, Jake led a small team through the palace's hidden passages. Princess Zara had shown him these secret routes during their time together. The rebels didn't know about them because they were royal family secrets. Jake emerged behind the enemy lines just as Captain Kane's forces attacked from the front. The rebels were caught between 2 human forces and didn't know which way to turn. At the same time, Princess Zara led a group of loyal guards in an attack from the side. The rebels found themselves surrounded and outnumbered. The battle turned quickly after that. Many rebels surrendered when they realized they were beaten. Others tried to escape but were captured by the royal guards. Commander Mordan was found hiding in the palace kitchen. When they brought him before Queen Melissa, he was angry but no longer dangerous. "You have destroyed our people," he said to the queen. "This marriage will make us weak and dependent on humans." Queen Melissa looked at him with sad eyes. "Thex, you were once a good soldier and a loyal friend. But fear has made you blind. You can't see that strength comes from unity, not isolation. Unity with inferior beings is not strength. It's corruption." Princess Zara stepped forward. "Jake saved my life multiple times. He fought for our people even when he could have run away. How is that inferior?"
"He's not one of us," Morden said stubbornly. "Neither were you once," Queen Melissa replied.
"Your family came from the outer colonies. They were outsiders who proved their worth through service. Jake has done the same." Morden had no answer for that. He was taken away to face trial for treason and rebellion. 3 weeks later, the royal wedding took place in the Great Hall of the palace. Representatives from dozens of alien worlds attended, along with diplomats from Earth. It was the first interspecies marriage in recorded galactic history. Jake wore a formal human military uniform with special decorations from the Veltheran Empire. Princess Zara wore a beautiful dress that combined human and alien styles. It was white like human wedding dresses but made of fabric that shimmered with rainbow colors. The ceremony itself was a mix of traditions from both worlds. They exchanged rings like humans did, but they also performed the Veltheran ritual of sharing water from their home worlds. Jake had brought a small bottle of water from Earth, while Zara had water from the sacred springs of her planet. "By mixing these waters, we symbolize the joining of our peoples," the priest said in both English and the Veltheran language. "May this union bring peace and understanding to all who witness it." When Jake and Zara kissed at the end of the ceremony, the crowd erupted in cheers. Even some of the aliens who had opposed the marriage seemed moved by the moment. At the reception afterward, Jake found himself talking to diplomats and nobles from across the galaxy. Many of them were curious about humans and asked him questions about Earth culture and government. "Your species is very young," said an ambassador from the Centauri Republic, "but you have already shown remarkable adaptability. We would like to open trade discussions with your world." Similar conversations happened throughout the evening. Jake realized that his marriage to Princess Zara was opening doors for humanity that might have stayed closed for decades. Later that night, as the celebration wound down, Jake and Zara stood on the palace balcony looking up at the stars. "Are you happy?" Zara asked, now Queen Zara, since her mother had formally passed the crown to her during the wedding ceremony. "Very happy," Jake said, putting his arm around her. "Are you? This is a lot of responsibility for both of us." "I'm terrified," Zara admitted, "but I'm also excited. We have a chance to build something new, a government that combines the best of human and Veltheran ideas." Jake nodded. Over the past weeks, they had spent long hours planning the changes they wanted to make. They would create a council where both aliens and humans could participate in government. They would establish exchange programs so young people from both species could learn from each other. Most importantly, they would prove that different species could work together as equals. "What do you think our children will be like?" Zara asked quietly. Jake felt a warm feeling in his chest. They had talked about having children, but hearing her mention it still made him happy. "I don't know," he said honestly, "but I think they'll be amazing. They'll grow up understanding both human and Veltheran culture. They'll be bridges between worlds. Just like their parents," Zara said, smiling up at him. A year later, Jake stood in the same spot on the balcony, but now he held a small baby in his arms. The child had Zara's purple eyes but Jake's dark hair. She was the first human Veltheran hybrid ever born, and the entire galaxy was watching to see what she would become. "She's beautiful," Captain Kane said, joining them on the balcony. She had been promoted to admiral and now served as Earth's permanent ambassador to the Veltheran Empire. "She's going to change everything," Zara said, reaching out to touch her daughter's tiny hand. Jake looked down at his child and felt a sense of wonder. This little girl would grow up in a universe where humans and aliens worked together. She would never know a time when the species were enemies or strangers. "What will you name her?" Captain Kane asked. Jake and Zara looked at each other and smiled. They had discussed this many times. Hope, Zara said. Her name is Hope. As Jake watched his daughter sleep peacefully in his arms, he thought about how much his life had changed. He had come to this world as a simple soldier with a job to do. Now he was a king, a husband, a father, and a symbol of cooperation between species. It had all started with a promise to protect one person. But sometimes protecting one person means protecting everyone. The future stretched out before them, full of challenges and possibilities. There would be people who still opposed the alliance between humans and aliens. There would be problems to solve and conflicts to resolve. But Jake was no longer worried about the future.
He had learned that when people choose to work together instead of fighting each other,
amazing things can happen. Love really could bridge any gap, even the gap between worlds. As the 3 moons of the Veltheran homeworld rose over the horizon, Jake Morrison, former human soldier and current alien king, smiled and began planning for tomorrow. He had a galaxy to help run, a family to protect, and a future to build. And for the first time in his life, he knew exactly where he belonged.